Hi, good afternoon. It's Emma from Nurturing by Nature, and we are going to do a live for you because it's Friday, and today there's a couple of topics that are basically things that we've been asked this week, follow on from last week. So we've got the opportunity to win the products that we feature in the video. So do get involved later on and find out how and what you can win. If you watch the video, you'll see what you can win. And obviously, you know our story. My mum is Nettie, and she founded Nurturing by Nature back in 2004. And basically, myself and Adam and our amazing team all work together to bring you as much information on raw diets and good raw food, obviously, that we can do. And our team are fantastic. And obviously, Nettie's my mum, so she's fantastic. And then we just basically banish all the heavily processed products that you can get out there and moving towards a nice natural raw diet for your pets. And today we are looking at creating some ideas into diets that you can include to enhance your pet's food. And the other thing I'm going to go over briefly is how and why it's okay to feed a raw food to your puppy. So we're Nurturing for Nature. So you don't just have to feed a raw diet. Some of these things I'm going to go over today are things that you could do to enhance any food that your dog is being given by you. We would recommend the more variety that you feed, the better. Like your dogs and cats are very capable of removing everything they don't need from their bodies. And certain vitamins and minerals are actually expelled in their urine. So you can't really go wrong if you add a few extra bits to enhance your dog's food. I'm Emma, and we just wanted to let you know a little bit on how we make some of the food. We've gone over that before, and we are able to bring to you some ideas on how to enhance your pet's food. So basically, I've been asked this week in the shop about feeding raw to a puppy, and vets have said, oh, you can't feed raw to a puppy. You need to make sure that your puppy is an adult before you feed it a raw diet. Well, dogs and cats can be reared on a raw diet, so you don't have to worry about not feeding it until they're adults. So as long as you feed a balance and a variety, getting those essential vitamins and minerals from various places, there's no reason why you can't rear a puppy very healthily and very well on a raw diet. And we see it all the time. And I've heard on countless occasions that my dog is raw fed, and I've been back to see him, and we've done a puppy meetup, and he is either bigger or healthier or even just stronger and looks healthier. His eyes are brighter than the other puppies in his litter. So I can definitely see a difference by feeding a raw diet, and it's improving him. So I've heard that, or heard that plenty of times when they've started raw feeding. So you can safely feed raw to a puppy, and I'm just going to go over why for you. So there's no time period you can start a dog or a cat on a raw diet. You can feed any breed, any age raw. Quite often people come to us at the dog's end of life and go, I think I want to try a raw diet. Am I too late? No, you're not too late. You can try it, and it quite often enhances their lives, and you might even get to keep them for longer. It is the best decision, and we will talk you through on how you can do it safely and happily and in your own home. So if you're really lucky, when you pick up your puppy from the breeder, some of them are already reared on a raw diet, and that does make the transition easier for you. And that's really nice to see a puppy reared on raw. We had a vet who was a whippet breeder once upon a time, and she told us that her bitch went out, and when the puppies were just 4 weeks old, the bitch was like, I am going to feed my own puppies I've been given a chicken carcass, and she actually took that in for the puppies to look at and have a suck on and have a little nibble at. So if the bitch thinks that it's a good idea, I'd go with that. She's sharing her food with the puppies, so you can feed a puppy a raw diet, no problem. And again, like the older dogs. So when you first bring your puppy home, they have got so much growing to do. So various breeders let them go at certain times. I think 8 weeks is very young, but sometimes circumstances mean that that is the case. 8 weeks, 12 weeks, however old your puppy is when they come home to you. When they're little like this is when they're doing their maximum amount of growing. So how much you feed them is really important. So generally, puppies will have up to 10% of their body weight in meat per day. And it's a really, really easy way to work that out. So say, for example, your puppy's weighing 4 kilos. We're giving them 10%, so 4 times 10, that gives you 40. Add a 0 on the end, and that gives you the percentage of your pet's weight to feed them in the 10%. And you can do that with all sort of ages by using a different formulation. But that is one of the easiest and quickest ways that I remember of how much is 10% of this dog's body weight. I take the weight of the dog, I times it by however percentage-wise we're going to feed, and then just bear with me. Instagram has been paused. Anyway, so I'll wait for them to reconnect. Not ideal, but we are on a live, so that's what happens. I'm sorry. So yeah, puppies can have up to 10% of their body weight in meat per day. And that is something that you would continue until around about 5 months old. So I'm going to end this and start this one again. Reconnect it. I'll edit this and make it into a better video later on anyway. But yeah, sorry, bear with me. No, Instagram has gone. Okay, never mind. Try it again. So yeah, puppies can have up to 10% in there. No. Live. Going live again. Up to 10% of their weight in meat per day. So the 4 kilo example, 4 times 10 equals 40. Add the 0 on, there's 400 grams. That's what your puppy at 4 kilos can have in that day. You might find that they don't want to eat all of it, and that's fine. You might find that they eat it all and they're continuously looking for more food. And then that way I would probably advise you to try and create some more enriching ways of feeding your puppy rather than just having a bowl. And you would feed a puppy maybe 4 or 5 times a day when you first get it home, because they've got so much growing to do, and their muscles need constant and their bones need constant food so they can grow nicely. And when you feed them a raw diet, it tends to grow them really beautifully. So around about 5 to 6 months, it's really not uncommon for people to come in and say, my dog absolutely loves the raw food, but he's gone off it, and I'm worried that he's not getting enough food. Well, they have stopped growing quite as much at that age. They go through stages in their growing up where they are up and down with how much fuel they need to grow nicely. So sometimes they're not as hungry, they're not doing as much growing, so they don't need it as much. And dogs are quite clever. Generally, depending on the breed, they might not eat it because they don't want it and they don't need it. Okay, so 5 to 6 months, it's really not uncommon to get, certainly for us in feedback in the shops, and to find out that the dogs have gone off it a little bit. And in that point there, we would say you just feed a bit less. So find out how much that your dog needs. Generally 6 months, again, it does depend on the breed, maybe 5 to 7% depending on their growth, but you do need to take in considerations of their breed. So large breed dogs, they mature a lot slower, so they are growing a lot slower. So it's not uncommon for something like a St. Bernard to be a year and a half, and still that's really when they become an adult. Smaller dogs, they grow and they mature a lot faster. So it is all dependent on the size and the breed of your dog or the cross that they are. So definitely bear that in mind. And just remember, no dog is the same as another, even if it was the same breed. Different people have different metabolisms. You know, I've got friends who eat loads and they're as skinny as a rake, and other people eat less. You know, their metabolism is different, and they tend to hold on to the food. So for a puppy, we would transition them on with the mince to start off with, because if they haven't come to you already weaned on a raw diet, then you can start them off on the minces. Usually a breeder would pass on some of the food that they were feeding anyway, so hopefully you'll have a little bit of that, and then we would just transition them over time. So depending on how much of the food that the breeder's given you, we would then look to feed a small amount of raw alongside a meal the next time of the other diet that they were having, and you could either alternate, you can alternate it, or you could or you could just feed sort of three raw meals and two whatever else meals, and gradually reduce the amount of the other food and increase the amount of raw over time. And you could do that over 1 week, you could do that over 2 weeks. If you've only got a tiny amount of food from the breeder, you just do it quite quickly, but by feeding lots of small meals over the course of a day, you should be absolutely fine. So there's no, you know, you won't have any problem with that. And then you'd start off on the minces, which are these. We do have the smaller packets, and I didn't bring them in with me, but these are the 500-gram minces. Typically, a Labrador is probably going to eat that in a day. There's 500 grams in there. I would say generally like an 8 to 10 week old golden retriever, you probably look at about 700 grams a day or so. So that's the time when they're doing the most growing. That's the time when you feed the higher percentage, the 10%. Then we would, so starting them off on the minces, and you could do that for as however long that you feel comfortable to do it. So some people would do it for a week, some people would just get straight in, especially with a dog that's come already weaned on a raw diet. They will probably come with bones, like these chicken carcasses. The chicken carcasses are quite a good size for a puppy, and they're quite a flexible bone, and you could stuff that if you wanted to. It's a very flexible bone. There's not a lot of actual bone in there. It's mostly cartilage and meat, to be honest, because these birds are very young when they're killed. So the bone hasn't had the chance for full ossification yet. So there are some harder bits, but mostly it's cartilage and meat, and it's very flexible. So puppies really enjoy the carcass, and that's a good bone to start them off on. And then you would go on to feeding a variety over time. So that leads me in to the variety side of things. So I'm going to go over some of the products that I've got to help you with the variety, and everything we have here today I will put into a little competition for somebody to win next, and we will announce the winner next Friday on the live. Okay, so we have had some questions as well this week. What are we producing this week? So I'll quickly delve into that. Production, we've got 100% beef, which is made up with the liver and the 100% beef, and we've got that's beef, meat, and tripe, and we've got chicken and liver being done as well. We've got the wings and drums and necks. We've got venison feet, lamb heart, and we're doing chicken and oily as well, apparently. Venison feet, they're fun. Has anyone tried any of those yet? They are pretty good. Dogs seem to really like them, and they're a hairy chew. Yeah, some dogs absolutely love them. Okay, so let's go back into variety. Variety is really key to feeding a well-balanced raw diet, because if you consider how you eat, I do not eat the same things in the same plate every single day. I send my kids off to school with a similar kind of meal in their lunch boxes because that's convenient and I know they're going to eat it. But in the evening, they're not going to have the same meal every day. So they will get a variety over time. And that's how we advocate feeding a raw diet, a variety over time. If you eat a pizza, do you eat pizza every day? Some people do, and they're not the healthiest. And that's the same application to your dog. If you feed the same thing every single day, they're not necessarily going to be the healthiest, because either that food has been made in a factory where it's just fully processed, highly processed food. So you need to feed a variety over time. That's really, really important. And that applies to things like treats, minces, bones. So feeding a variety of different textures as well as different foods is really important. By you feeding a variety over time, we end up offering a good balance of vitamins, minerals, amino acids that your dogs need. And I know we use a lot of chicken within our food, and some people don't like that. But we use chicken because chicken is very available in the UK. It's a very highly available product. Also, a cat or a dog could easily catch, kill, and eat a chicken. So it's a really appropriate meal for a dog, also. So that's why we use chicken, as well as it being accessible for us. But it does have vitamins and minerals in it. And you find different vitamins and minerals from different protein sources. So because we're looking at a raw diet here, I've sourced and looked into what minerals are found within meats, and there'll be a few veggies and things in there to give you an idea. So essential minerals for dogs, there's maybe at least 10, maybe more, but these are things that you would definitely do within time, over time, but you don't know it because you're feeding a different variety of meats and proteins, and that keeps it simple by saying feed different protein sources. But really, so using things like liver, and some people can get hold of brain, and chicken and beef and turkey. Now they're all well known to have a good balance of phosphorus in. So phosphorus is really important for your dogs. Calcium. So the obvious calcium source would be the bones. However, you'll find it in things like trout, beef, and chicken breast. In the milk, so we've got the goat's milk that you can have, and then you've got things like vegetables as well. So adding a few vegetables in, broccoli and cabbage, they're good sources of calcium. But the obvious one to me would be the bones. You've got the carcasses, you've got things like the ribs. You can even feed fish with bone in to give you those extra bits of calcium that you're looking for. And that's a piece of trout. So there's other good things about trout, but that's a bit of trout, and there's actually bone running through there, and your dog or even your cat will eat all of that. So that's phosphorus and calcium. Iron. Okay, so iron you would find in beef, lamb, turkey, chicken, egg yolk. It says not the egg white, but just put the whole egg in. What have I got? Oh, beet greens, apparently high in iron. So last week we were talking about baby veg that you can put in the freezer. Beetroot greens and liver. So liver's high in iron, and liver does, beef liver especially, features a lot in some of these minerals. Okay, so copper, another thing that they do need to find. You will find that in beef liver. You can feed beef liver in things like the mince. So this one here is the chicken and ox liver mince. So that's a mince with it in, and we put the right proportions of liver into it. So if you gave a whole liver of beef liver, I mean, they're huge, by the way. Ox livers are massive, great big things. So you wouldn't feed all that in one go. And if you did, you'd end up with a really runny tummy. It's far too rich for them in one go. So we don't put any more than 5% in the minces. You can also feed in moderation dried liver, like this one here. So this is a dried liver from one of our suppliers, Hollings, and that's a dried liver. So if you don't fancy adding the chicken and beef liver, you could use something like this that you know you're going to get the single beef protein from. So that's what we're talking about. We're talking about iron here. Okay, and then what have we got next? Manganese. Lamb, chicken, beef, and pork. Good one for the meats. So there's chicken is in there as a white meat, but you've got 3 red meats in there. And then copper, beef liver again, beef heart and kidneys, other hearts, lamb kidneys. We've got chicken hearts, lamb hearts. So varying the different proteins, you're going to get different levels of manganese in there. Copper. Fish, another thing you can find with copper, and the other things are like crustaceans, so crabs. Some people will free crab if you're lucky enough. Some dogs will just eat it off the beach because we are really lucky living here, and you do find them. And they tend to find them before we do, don't they? They tend to snaffle it up. So what else we've got? We've got magnesium, chicken, turkey, salmon, mackerel, spinach, banana, leafy green vegetables. Those are good sources of magnesium. And then zinc. Zinc is found in red meats. You've got venison, beef, lamb. You find it in shellfish as well. And ground up seeds. Zinc. Okay. Selenium is found in chicken. Well, and in the skin of the chicken, and in lean meat, also eggs. So eggs are an amazing food that you can add to your dog's diet. You can feed them eggs every other day. You can feed them every day if you wanted to. Right, so iodine. Iodine makes you think of the ocean, the sea. So seaweed, that's an excellent source of iodine. We've got our own seaweed, which is a fermented seaweed, which is a Neptune's yard. So apart from other things, good for their skin and their coat. This is a Neptune's yard. It's a skin and coat on there. But that's an excellent source of the iodine. You'll also find iodine in beef liver, either dried or raw, and eggs. When you have a dried product, though, like the liver, it's going to be a bit more concentrated. So bear that in mind when you feed that, because it's been dried and it's been condensed within whatever process they've used to dry it, usually just probably like an air dryer or a dehumidifier that sucks out all the moisture. So when you do that, generally things get a lot smaller, a lot more concentrated. Okay, so that's generally the vitamin. No, those are the essential minerals. Okay, so phosphorus, calcium, iron, manganese, copper, magnesium, zinc, selenium, and iodine, and vitamins. So vitamins are also another part of essential, and then you'll find these again in all the products that we do. So you will find vitamins within things all over the shop that we've got. So there's a few more products to go over there. Okay. Vitamin A, so that's good for the eyes and immunity. You'll find that in liver, fish, chicken liver, egg yolk, inflammation. So C, vitamin C, inflammation reduction. So it's good for that. So kidneys, liver, herbs. Right. So things like this product here, the Easy Green. If you don't want to do your own veggies at home, you could use something like this. And this has got spinach, parsley, and watercress. And parsley, like dried parsley or fresh parsley, chopped up small, is especially high in vitamin C. But then you know things like oranges are as well, but you just need to make sure it's especially high in vitamin C. But then you know things like oranges are as well, but you just need to make sure that if you've got a food that's got vitamin C added in it, because your dogs do need it, that it is actually naturally produced, because they can produce vitamin C from grains. So if your dog's got a grain allergy, you need to know where your vitamin C is coming from. So nice, natural, easy to get hold of vitamin C. This is a good source of vitamin C. And that's a good alternative for some of the veggies that you might want to feed. So after vitamin C, we're looking at vitamin D, good for your bones. So red meats, vitamin D, red meats help support vitamin D. Things like beef. Also, you've got oily fish. That's a really good source of vitamin D. And mushrooms as well. So I put those mushrooms in that blender last week. Good source of vitamin D, good for the bones. And then we've got vitamin E. That is something the dogs need. That's really good for puppy growth and for your dog's metabolism. So you will find vitamin E on things like chicken thighs and salmon. And then again, the ground down seeds. So if you feed seeds, they need to be ground up because they need to be able to absorb what the goodness is in there. And we're looking at vitamin E found in ground up seeds. Vitamin K, essential for blood clotting. So you'll find beef liver. You will get chicken. Chicken's a really good source of vitamin K. And then we've got vitamin B, B complex, 3, 6, 12. It's found in all meats, and especially things like liver. And that's the liver is packed with vitamins, B vitamins, and that's good for the energy and good for brain. And then you've got things like folic acid. So you don't find that as much in meats. You would find that more in dark green leafy vegetables, spinaches, broccolis, that sort of things. That's why sometimes it's a really good way of adding extra vitamins and minerals into your dog's diet, by adding some of these things when you blend up a bit of broccoli or some of the spinaches. I expect you'll find that this is probably a really good source of folic acid with the leafy greens. And there's one more, which is choline. I can't even remember how to spell it now. I think it's choline. So you'll find that with salmon, liver, and egg yolk. So that's why we say you feed a variety. There are so many things that we do that give not just one or two of these essential vitamins and minerals. Each thing is packed with it. So you don't actually have to be feeding a complete bowl of food every day, because you're feeding a variety over time, and that's where your dog's getting the good vitamins and minerals from. So I had 7 absolute things that if you wanted to enhance your pet's meals, look to feed these. So include liver. Beef liver might be the champion liver, but any liver will be good. Beef liver. Another really interesting and good product to include is tripe, because it's got extra bacteria in it, because it is. But when you feed a tripe, make sure it's a raw tripe. So we do a mince with tripe in, or we do the chunks of tripe, or we do dried tripe. So this is the chicken with tripe, and you can see, so whenever you, because our clear packaging is nice and clear, you can always see what's in it. And that here, that's a bit of tripe in there. Okay, there's more around the edges. You can see lots of it. So you'll see it when you take these home. You'll see that the minces are different, and you can definitely see the ingredients in there. So you know that we're generous when we put it in there. You've got it. You've got the tripe with the chicken. Some dogs don't like the tripe on its own. You know, to be honest, people really don't like the tripe on its own because it is a bit fragrant, but the dogs absolutely love it. This is some chunk tripe. These are just raw green tripe chunks. And you can just take a couple of those out and add them to your dog's meal a couple of times a week, once a week. Feed it outside if you don't like the smell. But tripe's a really good thing and a really nice way of encouraging your dog to eat if you need to, because sometimes dogs are a bit fussy and this is quite stinky. They do like it. It's got extra sort of bacteria in there from the cow's stomach, and that's not bad for your dog. It's good. It helps them to digest their food. And the other option with the tripe you've got is a dried option. So if you can see this here, this is the stinky sticks. We call them stinky sticks. They're dried tripe. They're quite hard, and they're not quite as offensive, I don't think, as a raw tripe. I don't mind it myself. But this is a stinky stick. They're around about that sort of size, each of them. They're a good chew for any size dog. Any dog will get on with that. Some of them are bigger than the others. Look, see, that one's nice and flat, so that's a bit more of a challenge. And what you'll find with these, they're hard and they're ridgy, so that it will help to clean your dog's teeth. So there's double benefit for giving a dried tripe. But you're still going to get those vitamins and minerals, remember, because even though it's dried, it's still there. Those vitamins and minerals are still in that product. Sometimes when you dry things or cook things, you lose a little bit of it, but there will be essential vitamins and minerals that your dog will gain from eating a product like this. So that's our stinky sticks. Those are our dried tripe sticks, and they're really popular. They're one of our most popular selling treats as well. So we know that dogs love it. Oily fish. That's number 3 on my list. So if you were able to add in a couple of fish every other day, like the little sprats or something like these sardines, if you add them into your dog's meals every day, you're going to have extra vitamins and minerals that your dogs will benefit from. You've got the whole fish as well, so you've also got the fish liver in there. So that is a really good source of lots of things. It's good. So when you're feeding oils, If you feed animal oils like this, it's much better for your dog to digest, much easier for them to digest. If you start adding in oils like coconut oil or vegetable oils, it's harder for them to digest because they're not naturally going to be able to use it as well as they would do as fats from an animal. So that's why we advocate feeding little fish. And they're at the bottom of the food chain, and everyone likes to eat them in the ocean, not just because they're small, it's because they're really good for them. Okay, leafy green veg, that's another thing on my list. So feeding leafy green vegetables, you've got the spinach, you've got the carrot tops like Mum said, you've got the beetroot tops I mentioned earlier, those little bags of salad, those are all baby greens. You've got kale in this, so that's something that's really good for them. And we said they are full of things like the vitamin C and leafy veg, folic acid. Okay. Chicken obviously is a really accessible meat for us to be able to feed our pets. And there's loads of good things in chicken. I didn't mention chicken just once in those lists. It's been mentioned 3 or 4 times. So chicken is a good thing, full of good stuff for your dogs. You've got iron in chicken. You've got magnesium found in chicken. You've got selenium found in chicken. And you've got things like, what did we say? We said the vitamin K, that's found in chicken. So when you're feeding chicken, you are hitting quite a few of those essential things that your dogs need. Eggs, they're really good. You can include the shells. There's some companies out there that make these heavily processed things, and then I don't know who or how they do it, but they take the eggshell membrane, and that is actually an ingredient that's been put into this food to improve the joints of your pet. Just feed an egg. Don't worry about peeling out the eggshell membrane. Put the eggs in their food 2 or 3 times a week. You could even do it every day if you want to. Fresh eggs are great for dogs, and you can feed eggs that you have from your own chickens as well. It doesn't have to be shop bought. And then the last thing on my list is seaweed, because we have seen firsthand how good this can be. And there are other products out there that include seaweed as well. So not only is it an excellent source for your dog to help with their skin and coat, the seaweed is just good because it's come from the ocean. It's not as processed. It's nice and clean because this has been harvested in an area that's nice and clean. Good iodine levels in there. So consider something like seaweed as part of your daily addition to your dog's diet, or maybe weekly addition. But this is the seaweed that we've got, the skin and coat. And all it is fermented seaweed. So by fermenting it, they're enhancing it. So you're making it more potent, more effective for your pet by putting it through a process of fermentation. And that's why some people like to use things like kefir or the fermented cabbages and that sort of thing. Some people will use that in their dog's food as well. Okay, so that sort of covers why we advocate feeding a variety of foods. I've got a lot gone over there already. Was going to talk about how we make some of the food. Don't forget, these products that I've featured today, you could win if you comment on our YouTube channel. Get involved, and then we'll announce the winner next week. So please do that on either this video on YouTube or on the revised version that we do on the main channel. They will count as the same one. And we've got an offer as well that we've set up for everybody watching today, and I will link that in the video. So it gives you a 10% discount to use over this weekend on our website. So yeah, that will be linked in on it for you. You will be able to see that in the comments. And I think Ness will probably be able to put it up for me as well. So yeah, we want to quickly go over how you make the switch over. So that's the same principle as putting the puppies on the raw diet. If you've got an adult dog, why not just feed them a raw diet? It's a really good option for them. And then you just introduce it over time slowly, or you can do cold turkey straight in feeding, a raw diet straight away. You can do both. We just do lots of little meals, and then your dog will get used to it and they'll be able to digest it. And then we introduce bones after 3 to 4 weeks. there's two ways you can go: full on cold turkey, get in there, get on with the chicken, get on with the raw food, or you can do small meals of what they're used to having over time, and then we're going to switch it up and turn each meal eventually into a raw meal. And then, like we've discussed, the variety, don't worry about feeding variety straight away. We can start them off on chicken for a week, is what we usually do, just to get your dogs used to it. But we feed variety over 6 to 8 weeks. So using lots of those products that we've mentioned, getting all those different vitamins and minerals from them, you will be able to feed a nice, healthy, raw, balanced diet. And like, just bear in mind how we eat. We just eat a variety over time. Same for your dog. You can overfeed on certain things. So if you feed too much bone, your dog's poo will become quite hard and very hard for them to pass. You want their poo to be firm, but you don't want them to have to strain forever and it come out white. So that would be an indication of too much bone. And earlier I mentioned what happens if you feed too much liver. Go straight through them and you'll end up with a bit of a mess. So just be mindful of how much they have of something. If they happen to eat it accidentally, there's lots of ways that we can help you. Say if your dog's got constipation because they've eaten a bone that they shouldn't eat all of, we can use a bit of liver to help push that through. Yeah, so we'll be back next week. We've been asked to cover allergies as well, so we will give you some information on allergies. Nettie's got some bits of really good key tips that she helps people with. A lot of people come in saying my dog's allergic to chicken, they can't have that, but is it necessarily an allergy to chicken or is it something else? Yeah, that's our day today. Sorry it was a bit disjointed here and there, but I will do a better video for you so that you can see it on the system. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you happen to be on YouTube. That's really helpful for us. We need more people to subscribe so we can let more people know about raw feeding. Share it if you get the opportunity. If you found any of this information useful, please share the videos or share some of the information, or even pass on about nurturing by nature to your friends. And then don't forget the competition to, it's going to get involved to win some of these products that I've mentioned here. So you can win some minces, you can win some fish, the dried fish and the raw fish, with the trout and the sardines and the sprats. You've got some bones here. We'll top them up, one chicken carcass. If you've got 3 dogs, that's not much fun, but we can put a few of those in. We've got some lamb ribs. You've got the tripe chunks, tripe sticks, some Neptune's yard. I'll even throw in one of our lovely bags for you as well. And there's got some hearts and things. It won't be this lot. We'll put it together again. But these are just as demos. These will go to our team members. They'll use these up for their dogs. So yeah, that's our day today. Hopefully you found it interesting. If there's anything you want us to cover, we'll definitely help you out if we can. And then that's it. Thank you ever so much for joining me today. Thank you.